All right. I can't help do an episode without Bitcoin. Let me begin with the question to you, Richard. Are you a believer in Bitcoin? There's a faith component here when I say believer. Are you a holder in Bitcoin?
I have just a tiny bit here and there. Invested in a fund that does a lot of crypto things just to have a little bit of exposure. But I mostly want to focus on AI and find it a bit of a distraction. So I'm not really deep in it.
Well, when focusing on AI, I mean, listen, AIs are going to need to have, and agents are going to need to have mechanisms for transacting financially. So, let's take it slightly sideways to cryptocurrencies for AI agents to do business amongst each other. What do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense, but they can also like do that with credit cards, right? Like we'll have AI kind of make credit card purchases fairly quickly. I was a little bit dismayed when I actually tried to play around with the technology, and then it's just like the gas fees and so on were also pretty high. And I'm like, wait, this is like a credit card fee almost. This is like already costs a lot of money. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. So I don't know. I feel like they need to really lower the prices so that the transactions themselves are insanely cheap.
Yeah, there's a whole stack of, you've got Bitcoin with very expensive transaction fees and proof of work to proof of stake. And as you get closer to the end use where you need less security, so if I'm storing jewelry in a bank vault, then you have a lot of security, but you don't do that many transactions. When it comes to a debit card, you can have much less security. The transactions are limited to like $50 each, and therefore you can lower the security in exchange for the volume. I think that's the kind of thing we're going to see in the crypto world as well.
How nervous do you get, Salim, when you see the price now? At this very moment, it's at
So
93.
I'm really encouraged by what's happened here. So two things happened over the last few days. One was the BitByte, whatever, ByBit hack, which was the biggest hack ever. And in previous years, this would have caused massive collapse in the crypto world, and it barely even noticed, right? So I think that's one. And the second was the response from the exchange with the CEO going, "We're going to get everybody made whole again very quickly, etc." Gives me encouragement that there's robustness being built into the ecosystem, which gives people a lot of confidence going forward. So I'm pretty excited about where where this will go. The Trump meme coin did not help the crypto world at all, and so that's really unfortunate. But that's life. You get what you ask
Well,
for.
you didn't buy it, did you?
No,
No.
no, not no, 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 because you can see it's only going one direction.
So, if you don't mind, you mentioned the ByBit $1 billion hack. Can you unpack it
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah, so what's happened was one cold wallet, which stored a lot of Ethereum, got hacked and suffered a massive withdrawal. Now the challenge here is that you want to, if you're the hacker, you want to move this into anonymous places and kind of wash the transactions because crypto is fairly traceable. There's appeals to Ethereum right up to Vitalik to say, can we just roll back the thing before the hack, and it'll just undo the hack basically. So there's a call for that. Uh, uh, but trying to wash all the currency out is going to be very, very tricky to do. And everybody's watching all these wallets where they're going very, very carefully to find out who it is. I don't know how you sustain this. I'll just repeat. I'm really encouraged by the response from Ben Zhao and the ByBit folks of saying we're going to just navigate all this. We're going to keep everybody whole. And the fact that they had enough backup to do this. In general, what we've found in the crypto world is you want to not keep major wealth on a centralized exchange for this exact reason. Mt. Gox, a lot of people lost a lot of money on early on. So you keep it offline and you do trading on these exchanges, but not storage of value.
Yeah, I know. But every time I use a treasure or a ledger, sort of thumb drive wallet, but I pucker up every time I go and plug it into my computer.
It's non-trivial. It's very
Yeah.
tricky, and this goes to that whole usability idea, right? Where I remember your comment about when a technology goes from deceptive to disruptive, the usability becomes much 10x, 100x better.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs made the smartphone usable, and boom, it took off. Coinbase made the purchasing of Bitcoin usable and very user friendly, and that took off. But the rest of crypto is still a hot mess.
Yeah.
Anybody that tries to buy an NFT or trade an NFT knows how sticky it is, or execute a smart contract. You have to be like geek level 14 to be able to even touch that stuff.
Yeah, I'm using Abra for my major holdings, but I still have, again, on Coinbase and on a number of different places. But
Yeah.
it turns out to be a significant amount of capital, and you've got to be careful about it.
That's right. I think the tricky bit is like why credit cards work is that you're kind of insured. Like if someone steals your credit card and you see a bunch of purchases, you can just tell them like that wasn't me, and then the bank will give you your money back. And part of the problem of the decentralization here is you decentralize also the risk, the security that you have to have, and the liability that each user now has for their own wallet. And then people are just not sophisticated enough to be able to deal with all the cybersecurity threats very often.